Decoding job descriptions is what I'm going to talk about today. I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, a coach who helps people professionally in a number of different ways. And I used to do executive search and help people find work, help organizations fill positions. There was a really good article in Harvard Business Review called "What Job Description Jargon is Actually Saying." So I thought I would use this as a framework for my own opinions about things. And I'm going to have a big piece at the end. So hang in there toward the end because I think that's almost as important as the entire article. Matter of fact, it's more practical than the entire article. So the first thing they point out, and I think this article is really geared toward less experienced people rather than more experienced people. And you'll see why in a second. And I'm going to add in the pieces for the more experienced person. So the first thing is know what's required and what's referred to as desire. Requirements are absolutes. Desires are pluses. Requirements, unless there's one of these huge lists of skills, the primary ones are listed sequentially in terms of relative importance. So if you have the 5th, 6th, and 7th, but not the first 4, the probability is you're not qualified. Focus on the first 4 of the list or the first group of the list. And on the desires, I encourage people, where you have them, bring it to their attention. As a matter of fact, when you send the cover email or upload the resume and have the opportunity to talk about your background, create something that calls attention to the requirements that you meet and the desired skills and experiences that you also have. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, there are hints in the job description about the corporate culture. Now, from a writing standpoint, the more severe and austere and bureaucratic the job description is, the more likely you're looking at a formal culture. The more, shall we say, exclamation points you see in the job description, and the more relaxed language, the more likely it is this is a looser culture. There's no guarantee, but there tends to be a hint in the writing style that suggests corporate culture. Next part of this is numbers of years of experience. Now here, the article focuses on less experienced people. So the classic example is a 2 to 4 year experienced person, let's say in meeting the qualifications. Don't fixate on the number of years. You can go a little bit less, you can go a little bit more. So for example, instead of 2 to 4, it can be 1 to 5 or 6. The real thing is about the functionality of the role and whether or not you'd be qualified. And I have to say, from your standpoint, interested, as let's say a 6-year person doing a job that a 4-year person might be interested in. Also, titles can be a little screwy because one person's, as they use the example, coordinator can be another organization's manager. So be careful about the titles here. And these days, as I'm recording this at the beginning of 2021, most jobs are going to be remote unless there's something concrete where you have to go to a client site and it's very clear. Like if you're a landscaper, obviously you're going to people's homes or to organizations' premises. Those will get spelled out. But most jobs these days are going to be remote. They may ask you in the job description whether or not you're open to working at their location when everyone gets back into the office, and you have to make your own choice about how to respond to that. Now, the piece I want to add in at the end is that job descriptions are 80% accurate. And I say that because most hiring managers never take the time to update them. They recycle them over and over again over years, and even their predecessors' job descriptions they're using to this day. So when you actually get to the interview, the first thing you need to do is to clarify what it is that they're looking for by saying, and this can be, by the way, with the phone screener, hey, thanks so much for making time to speak with me. I recall the job description, but I want to get your take on the role. Could you tell me about the job as you see it and what I can do to help? And that will give you the current roadmap for the role. I'm Jeff Altman. Hope you found this helpful. My website is thebiggamehunter.us. Go to the blog and go exploring there. There's just a lot there to help you. And at a minimum, put that address in your phone for a point later on where you might think you need some advice, because you can hire me to coach you or hire me to answer some of your questions. I'd love to help. Connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/The Big Game Hunter. And last thing I just want to mention, subscribe to my podcast, No BS Job Search Advice Radio. It's the #1 podcast in Apple Podcasts for job search with more than 2,000 episodes over 10 years. Have a terrific day. Be great. Take care.